So we are at an active granite quarry that's been in existence since the 1800s, the mid 1800s in fact. And I've been trying for 2 years to get out here and photograph it. Persistence pays off, my friends, because the owner has finally let me come and shoot it. But there is one caveat to that. Today, this morning, as of 8 a.m., I got a call from the owner saying that today might not be the best day to come because they had an incident happen and they had to shut down the quarry. She called me back a couple hours later saying that the incident is resolved, but they're still investigating it. But I have to stay to the outsides of the quarry. I can't go into it. I can't photograph any of the people in the cutting mill. I can't photograph any of the machinery while it's being used up close. I can only stand far back and get it, which is kind of unfortunate because, you know, I had a whole big plan today and it's gotten a little bit spoiled, but a positive mental attitude goes a long way. So I'm going to wander around here, photograph as much as I can with my Mamiya C220, which I forgot my strap for, so I'm hand holding this thing all day long. And hopefully we can get some pretty darn good images because this place is absolutely magnificent. Currently, I am in one of the sort of outskirts of the restricted area because of what happened earlier today, which the details are still very foggy on. But I'm at the top of the hill that would eventually kind of take you right down into the quarry itself, where there is still work going on. But there are some train tracks that I want to photograph, try to get some wide angle shots with the 55, just trying to find some interesting aspects. There's a tree over here that was clearly hit by some gravel truck or some sort of large truck that was coming by. And those little things kind of, I don't know, help add to the story. And quite frankly, you know, when it comes to making a project, you're not trying to get every image that you take into a project. You're just trying to find the ones that sort of exemplify the idea or at least add a part to the story that maybe you were missing. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. Is I'm not trying to find things that overexplore the idea, wrapping it all up in a nice beautiful little bow, but rather trying to find pieces, accents, detail shots that are going to help me kind of build that story. And hopefully one or two, maybe even none, will make it into the photo, but hopefully at least one will, or the project. So yeah, I am restricted now, so kind of difficult, but there's a lot of abandoned buildings up in these hills, so let's check some of those out. It is too hot for a sweatshirt. So when I talked to the owner this morning, she told me that because I'm staying to the outskirts that I have to be advised that because of the last 8 days we didn't have any rain, and we had a bunch of rain this morning, that the outskirts can often be some of the most treacherous because the ground can shift because of that added moisture that it's not used to. And any added weight that typically doesn't have added weight is only going to make things worse. So when I'm on the outskirts, when I'm up on top of some of these rock piles that are just being held up by dirt, I got to be extra careful. And when I was out taking a picture of the quarry, I perched myself up on top of this rock, and from where I was standing setting up it looked just fine. It looked like it was just a rock kind of in this position. But as I got up to the rock, as I was standing on it, I could look down underneath it a little bit, and I saw that it was just perched on this little 2-foot rock, which doesn't do a whole lot for your confidence, and it was probably about 150-foot drop to the bottom. So very dangerous. I don't advise that others do that. I shouldn't have done it. It was pretty dumb, but I got the shot. I got off it pretty quick and avoided what would certainly be an imminent death. So lucked out there. Very lucky. I just realized this rock is really only perched ever so gently on another rock. One thing that you'll probably see throughout my work, and you've probably already noticed, is that I love the dynamic between the natural world and how humans interact with it. And I think there's no better example of that dichotomy than here with this granite quarry, because the earth is just being ripped away to expose that granite to be used in your homes, through your kitchens, your countertops, your flooring. I just feel like it's a really perfect, maybe a little too on the nose depiction of how we interact with the natural world around us. And there's just a lot of things going on around here. There's a lot of old cutting stations, a lot of like old garages, there's old equipment, there's trees being knocked down. We're here in the peak of summer, or close to the peak of summer rather. Lush greens, this really beautiful sort of like almost dusty gravel road, a lot of really beautiful colors. So there's just a lot to photograph. We have a storm coming in. It's off in the distance. So you get these really nice dark clouds, and we're shooting it all on the Mamiya C220 with some Kodak Gold 200. I was debating on using a black and white film because it probably would lend its hand to this sort of scene a little bit better, but to be honest, I'm loving this film so much, so I just couldn't tear myself away from it. But as you can see, the sun is starting to pop out, and it's gonna go away pretty soon. Alright, so I'm over on the side now. I can actually see down where I was walking down that hill with the train track sort of up coming around the corner, which I couldn't access. I thought I was going to be able to the last time I was here 2 years ago, when I was just kind of wandering around, not knowing if this place was even active or not. I could see that there was a clear line through the train tracks, but today it's been barricaded with just tons and tons of downed logs. It looks like they're actively trying to keep people away from it. So she did say, keep in mind, don't go to places that are clearly marked as off limits or dangerous. And if there's any logs or Jersey barriers or granite slabs in the way, just know that that's also an indication not to go there. So I took that for what it is. Maybe we build a little bit more of a rapport between Angela and I, and I'll be able to access it, or maybe she'll take me out for a tour. That's what we're hoping to do one of these days. So fingers crossed we eventually get there, but not today. Just kind of staying around the outskirts, like I said, and just photographing as much as I possibly can, because this area is just overwhelmingly beautiful despite the sort of carnage that's happening. It's been a long ass day. Been out here for hours photographing, walking around, doing a lot of bushwhacking through the woods, quite a bit. I've got a lot of images that I'm really excited to see, so I'm gonna go home and develop those and see what we get. The clouds have just been beautiful all day. Points of sun with a lot of deep dark clouds off in the distance, which only kind of create more of an atmosphere, which I very much enjoy. But it was just fun getting out here, building a part of this project, seeing if it can maybe be included or mixed into another project. Try not to give myself too many guidelines with projects, because then you get bogged down in all the details. You know, you get lost in stuff and you go, this is for this and this is for this, and then you start to section things off and you get lost in it, and you realize that maybe this image for this project was actually better suited for this one. There's a whole thing that I think about when it comes to making projects and completing them. There's just a lot that goes into it, and it can be overwhelming at times. But with all that being said, today was certainly overwhelming, so I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna develop this stuff, even though I'm dog tired. Just too excited to see these images. Thanks for hanging out for a while. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.